What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to the Emcstats report, and we have a special report today announcing. You probably already heard of it, but we have to make sure we get this out to y'all to make sure we give Asia her proper due respect in reporting this. That she is now a four-time MVP award winner. This is the first time in WNBA history a player in the W has won four MVP titles. Now she is in a class by herself. Prior to that, she was in a class with Lauren Jackson from the Seattle Storm, Lisa Leslie from the Sparks, and Shell Swoops from the Houston Comets, where all three of those ladies, including Asia, all had three MVP awards. But again, Asia has now moved into a class all by herself after winning her fourth MVP award, as it was announced this past Sunday. That by itself, believe it or not, doesn't do it proper justice in talking about how great Asia has been. Obviously, when you hear four MVP awards and she's done it in her eighth season, she's only 29, not even 30 years old yet. And over the half of her WNBA career has been spent with her being the best player in the W. I would deem this a encore season for Asia. Why do you say encore, Edward? Simply because last year Asia averaged 20 plus in 10. On top of that, she led the league in scoring and she led the league in blocks. In addition to that, she shot 50 plus percent from the field. Okay, cool. But again, why encore? Simply calling it an encore because everything she did last year, she's done this year. And you could argue even better. Last year, averaging 20 and 10, 50% from the field, leading the league in scoring and blocks. She does the same. This year, she averages 23 and 10, averaging 2 blocks a game, shooting 50% from the field. And what more spectacular way to do it than for it to be clearly evident that if Asia wasn't as great as she has shown herself to be this season, the Aces wouldn't stand a chance on any planet of making the playoffs, let alone being the 2 seed. For those who don't know, may have not been following the WNBA, you may not be avid followers of the W. The Aces are 14 and 14 for their record, right at the poverty line of 500. And from that moment on, led by none other than Asia, again, led by none other than Asia, the Aces, after starting off 14 and 14 on the season, they go on a 16-game winning streak to finish out the season. That 14 and 14 record had them at the bottom, towards the bottom of the seeding, possibly flirting with not making the playoffs, right? But going on that 16-game win streak, finishing with the record of 13 and 14, they climb all the way up from the bottom to the 2 seed, led by Asia throughout that 16-game win streak. Asia is averaging 26 points as well as 12 rebounds and 3 stocks, blocks, and steals combined a game. And it was just beautiful to watch. Let me know in the comments if you can think of a player who has had to put the team on their back like Asia, and not put the team on their back and it hasn't resulted in wins. It just resulted in stats. But give me a player who's had to put the team on their back like Asia and it resulted in winning. The outcome was winning and not just stat stuffing, if you will. What a legendary encore performance, man. Again, last year, Asia, she averages 26 points, 11 rebounds, 2 blocks, 51% shooting from the field. Those points per game and those blocks per game, she led the league in doing that last year. And she was rightfully so awarded the MVP for that. And she follows up that encore performance. She gives us an encore performance this year, averaging 23 and 10, 2 blocks per game, shooting 50% from the field, and does what? Gets the MVP award again with a 16-game win streak, with taking her team from bottom of the league to the number 2 seed. And it's just it was beautiful to watch, man. It was beautiful to watch. When you look at the MVP voting, she received 51 first place votes out of 72. Obviously, the runner-up, Nafisha Collier, she received 18. Wasn't unanimous for Asia like it was last year, but clearly 51 out of 72, a landslide of her clearly being the favorite in a you get in any her being a clear favorite. I see the comments out there on Twitter and so forth and social media, people feeling like Nafisha Collier got snubbed. For some of y'all who may have seen my recent report, Emcstats report, you may have indulged into my conspiracy theory as to why I thought Asia was not going to win. Maybe not cut to the clip or go back and watch the clip yourself. But again, that conspiracy was just rooted in conspiracy. It wasn't rooted in believing that Asia wasn't overly and abundantly deserving of the MVP award. Again, Asia receiving 51 first place votes out of the 72 votes for the MVP award. Again, only player to win the MVP award 4 times. This is the second time that a player has won MVP in back-to-back years. The other player to do that was Cynthia Cooper. And this Asia is just, I don't think it's recency bias. I do not think it's recency bias to say that Asia is the best player in WNBA history. And the reason I don't think it's recency bias is because, one, you look at what she's already done. Again, not even 30 years old yet. You could compare her resume to anybody else you can think of in the W. And I believe right now at 29, she has the best resume there is to have. And she still has a lot more to go. I see Asia winning more MVPs. I see Asia winning more WNBA titles. I see Asia winning more finals MVPs. I see Asia being an all-star up until she retires, a la LeBron. You know what I'm saying? Or a la, I want to say, Diana Taurasi. She's been like named an all-star for a pretty long time through her tenure in the W. I could be wrong about that, but we know for sure, a la LeBron, like LeBron is going to retire the last 20 plus years being an all-star. I see Asia being an all-star up until she retires. So you can continuously add that to her resume, as she's already a 7-time all-star in the league. And Asia has been in the league 8 years, and she's a 7-time all-star. On top of half of her career, she's been named the MVP. When you talk about her being the greatest of all time, and another strong point about her being the greatest of all time is Asia is fucking dominant on both ends of the floor. This isn't just somebody who gets buckets and that's it. Just as much as she affects the game on the offensive side, she does the same exact, if you want to argue, maybe even more on the defensive end. And it's not a stat that's like heavily, I guess, like tracked, but you know, like you tend to go off like the blocks and the steals because like that's the most like in your face stat that you'll get for defense. But just in terms of like Asia's ability to just be an anchor on the defense, to float on rotations, to run players off of their spot, and then still be able to track them or trail them if they try to drive up to the rim and just make it difficult for defenders. If you just watch some of those final possessions in Game 1 against the Seattle Storm, Um, those like final possessions, how she was like running Wheeler off of her spot, and then Skylar Diggins like was kind of like she was kind of hesitant to try to get shots off, like knowing that Asia Wilson was in the vicinity, like lurking and trying to defend. So man, like Asia's defense, man, can't be talked about enough. And like I say, I think that's what makes her so great, and that's why I think it's fair to call her one of the greatest players, if not the absolute no debate greatest player of all time because of her dominance on both the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball. You know, the multiple scoring titles, on offense, but the defense, she's a three-time defensive player of the year this year, co-defensive player of the year, on top of her having the MVP award. Man, so man, bro, Asia is Asia is absolutely great, man. She's like I say, overly and abundantly deserving of this title. And man, like we have we're fortunate to witness the greatness of Asia Wilson. I'm grateful that she's still young. Prayers that we don't have any uh, blessings and prayers over her that the basketball gods don't give her any sort of injuries that could like shorten her career because she has a very long, everlasting career on top of what she's already done. And I just think I could see her. You think about the playoff runs, I could see her possibly going to go eclipse Diana Taurasi for like being a 10K points, with her deep playoff runs. I could see Asia doing that. Then when Asia do that, on top of all the other accomplishments, titles, MVPs, defensive players of the year, scoring titles, leading the lead in blocks and steals consecutively. The All Star appearances, like we're talking about a LeBron James. And like Asia is Asia, right? But for those who may not be as hip to the W, like that's a comparison in terms of her greatness, in terms of like her longevity that we're like looking at and projecting for her to have when it's all said and done, man. So Asia, overly and abundantly deserving, man. Can't say it enough. We're truly witnessing greatness. It's a blessing to watch how great she is. I personally don't take it for granted. Um, and this is a slight prelude intro into breaking down the games, breaking down the playoff games. We're going to get into some of those pretty soon. So make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications for that as we break down some of the games that have already taken place, as well as like games 1 and 2 of this semifinals round between both matchups. But Asia's greatness, talking about Asia's greatness again, it's evident to the point where it's both the Aces superpower, Asia's greatness, but it's also the Aces Achilles heel. Because if Asia isn't great on a night to night basis in these playoffs, the Aces don't stand a chance. And we saw that game 1 versus the Fever where Asia struggled and the Aces couldn't figure out how to get over the hump of the Aces despite Asia having a bad game. So the Aces are not a great team. Let's get that under. Let's we're not paying attention to them or viewing them as the team they were 2 years ago or 3 years ago when they went on the back to back. That's not this Aces team. Like, don't get it confused into thinking that because they're a 2 seed that somehow, some way, this team is great. This team is not great in no way, shape, or form. But what is great, and the reason she's all the more deserving again of the MVP, is that Asia is so great, it makes the Aces look great. The Aces offense is give Asia the ball and move the hell out the way. And that's just being God honest, truthful. I don't care how they try to slice it to say they run these sets, they try to put in these lineups and these rotations. No, give Asia the ball, get the hell out the way, try to play a little bit of defense, a little bit, because we all seen how Kelsey Mitchell did y'all last. And granted, Kelsey Mitchell is a walking bucket, so we're not going to act like it's easy to stop her in any way, shape, or form. But yes, paying attention to the Aces, don't get confused into thinking they're a great team. They are not a great team. What makes them great is solely and only Asia Wilson. And that is a testament to her all the more being deserving of the MVP award again for the fourth time, running off Asia's resume, four-time MVP winner, two-time WNBA champion, one-time Finals MVP, seven-time All-Star, three-time Defensive Player of the Year, as well as a Rookie of the Year holder, multiple-time scoring champion, multiple-time leader in blocks on the season. Yeah, man. Back-to-back seasons winning the MVP award, back-to-back seasons, first time in WNBA history, back-to-back a player has averaged 20 and 10 in back-to-back seasons. So yeah, man, you can go on and on and on and on about Asia's greatness, but yeah, man, I attempted to give it just due for all that she's done and all that she deserves. I look forward to seeing if they can win a championship. I think all in all, the Minnesota Lynx are a better team constructed, but if Asia finds a way to win this championship, bro, this year, it's no debate. She's the greatest player of all time because the Aces don't have no business winning the championship because they're not a great team cohesively together. It's just Asia or bust. And if she can find a way to be great night in, night out, or maybe not even night in, night out, but just be great in those closeout game moments or those facing elimination moments throughout this playoff stretch and find a way to steal the WNBA championship away from the Minnesota Lynx, put Asia on a put like Asia is the greatest of all time if that happens. I think really to I'm Asia is the greatest of all time. And again, just go back and listen to everything I just said. It's not recency bias. Look at the resume, look at the body of work, look at where she is right now in her career, and look at how much more basketball she still has left to play. Please don't pull a Maya Moore on us, man. And like leave the game with us just like leaving us high and dry, like not being just having the greatness taken away from us. Salute to Maya Moore. We know your purpose was, being served in a bigger capacity outside of basketball. I say that out of respect and like admiring Maya Moore game and hated that she had to step away from the game, but respect for why she did it. But Asia, stick around for us a lot more longer, man, and just allow us to continue to witness your greatness. Triple salute to Asia. Triple salute to Asia. Four-time MVP award winner of the WNBA and the only player in WNBA history to have four MVP awards. This is the Emcstats report. Thank you, beautiful people, for listening. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next report.